Hello, good morning once again. This is Mr. Badjie. Um, we are back on our lessons again, and this time we are going to work on Microsoft queries, Microsoft Access queries. The last time we've talked about how we can create a database, and we've also discussed how to create a new table from data design view and also by entering data. We have also discussed on how you can create a simple form that connects to any of the tables that you have created. We've also created simple reports that you can also connect to any of the data of the tables that you have also created. So we are going to continue on our lessons. The last part for our video tutorials is going to be on the queries. A query is simply a request for data results. Anytime you create a database and you have put in your information, you can always run a query to request for results. You can also use a query to answer a simple question. For example, how many students are female in a class? Or how many students are below the age of 20? Or how many students come from a particular location, for example, Bakau. So queries are usually made for those type of questions. You can also perform calculations as far as queries are concerned. You can also combine data from different tables so that you can put everything under one big table that answers most of your questions. You can also add or change or delete even a data or a record from a table. So queries is where the power of databases lies. You can do a lot of manipulation of data and analysis as far as queries are concerned. Anything that is asked as a question, as far as data is concerned, you can use queries to solve some of those questions. And then your database will look a very simplified and a very useful database for information system. Okay, so we are back on our database. If you remember, we've created a database called QIT Students Database. If you have it still now, that is what we are going to use. So we are going to open, among the tables we have created, we have exams table and we also have students table. So right now I have just opened the students table, and that tells us that we have 5 records. And those 5 records we have created, we have first name, we have middle name, we have last name, we have address, we have gender, we have date of birth, and we also have contact. So those are the fields that are available for the first name. And then if you open your exams table, you also have exams for the following modules that you have registered for as far as the IT is concerned. So you have done Access, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and then customer service exams. So there is also a relational field which is called the student ID that helps us to connect to this table. So if you remember all that, now we are left with creating a query. So if you look at the outline on the categories of list objects, we have table, we have form, we have reports. So we are left with creating queries. So if we have to start this right now, like I said the last time, we have to always go to create button. The create that is next to the home is where you will always click to go to create any of the objects you want to create, including queries. Now right now I have clicked on the create button, and then we have a list of so many different types of categories here. Among them you have the templates, you have tables as groups, you have queries, you have forms, you have reports, you have modules and codes. Sorry, macros and codes. So we are supposed to work on the queries, and these are the queries buttons. So there are two types of queries, or there are two ways in which you can create a query. One, you have to click on the query wizard, or you click on the query design. In our today's lesson, I'm going to take you through the query design. And if you pause on the icon, it tells you that create a new blank query in design view. It further said you can then use the show table dialog box to add tables or queries to the query design. Okay, so we are going to click on the query design. This is the window that you will see, and this is the dialog box that allows you to select the tables or table that you are going to add on the query window. Okay, so right now I want us to click on the students table. Later on we will come back and create both students and exams that will match the data of the two tables together. Okay, but right now we are going to create a simple query that will tell us how many female and how many male do we have on our database. So right now I have selected the students. I'm going to click on add, and then all you need to do is to close. Now that I have added this table, I am going to expand it so that I'll be able to see everything. So below here is the dashboard of the query design. This is where a whole lot of activities are conducted as far as queries are concerned. So first on the list you have the field, and if you look at the top here on the tables, on the table here, you have the fields here. So each of these fields, if you want, you can place it in a new column here. I'll show you how to do that in a short while. Next on the list you have the table. If you drop any of these fields here, the name of that table will also appear below. It tells you that this data comes from this table. The other one is called a sort. Sort means rearrangement of data. If you have to rearrange any data in your table or in your query, this is where you can also do it. You can click on the arrow here, and then it allows you to click on whether you want ascending order or descending order. Ascending means A to Z, and descending means Z to A. Later you will also get to know more about that. And also, if you don't want to do any sort, you can say not sorted. So you can select that. But right now, if you still continue, you have the next one that is called the criteria. Sorry, the show. You have the show that shows you that any of the field that you place in any of the columns, you can either hide the identity of that column, or you can show it on the table. Later I will demonstrate this for you, so to see how to work that out. So if you go to the next one, that is the criteria. The criteria is a very important component as far as queries are concerned. This is where you place your request, and then the query will now go up and look for it. Once it has found a match on what you have wrote, then it will return the answer for you in a table form. Okay, now you can either write two things. You can write the the criteria on this row, and then you can place in another criteria. In case this criteria is not found, it can go to another one. That is why you have the or. Okay, so I want us to start by, first I am going to double click. I will not double click on the ID here. So I am going to double click on the first name. I will double click on the middle name, double click on the last name, address. I will also double click on the gender, double click on the date of birth, and the contact. So virtually I have added all the columns here. So in this regard here, I have not sorted any of this field. But if I want my data to be sorted according to the last name, once my results is being displayed, it's going to display it and arrange it according to the last name for me. So I will click on the last name for sort, then click on the arrow, and then click on ascending order. So whatever the amount of data that is going to be returned as a result is going to sort that data for me in ascending order. Okay, so virtually right now we are going to be create a query for gender. So the male and female, when you were typing the data on your database, it is found under the gender here. And the way you wrote it exactly is the way you will also write it on the criteria row for gender. You cannot go to that place and type F alone or M alone, because on the actual data it is written male and female. So that is how you are also going to write your criteria. Under the gender here, you look for a row that is called criteria under the gender, and you click there, and then type in what you want to search for. I want to search for male. So you type in the word male exactly the way you typed it in the data. So right now I have typed in the male. I want all the male students to appear. And anything that is female, it will not appear here. So this is the actual data. This is the actual query. Once I click in below here, just below, it will give this word in a quotation mark, indicating to you that this is the results that you want to return as far as the data is concerned. So I am going to click on the design view here at the top. Once you click on the design view, this is what you see on the queries once you are on the design view. So on the left side there is an exclamation mark that is in red color, indicating to you that you can run this query now. So once you click on the button run, the query is going to search for these results under this column and display for you a result. So let's find out whether we will be able to see something that is resemblance to male for gender under the data we have typed. So we'll click on run. Okay, so this is the results. It has returned the results under the male query gender, and then it gives us all the males that are on the table. And it happens to be 2 people are only the males we have on the list of the table we have created. So I can save this query and call it male query. By right clicking on the tab here, I'll click on save and then type male query. Okay, I'll click on OK to save that. So I'll close it. Now you see there is a tab called query. It's an object called query, and this query will help us anytime we want to look for the amount of male in the table. If we double click this, we will see only the amount of male that we know that are already available on the table. So we are going to create another one for female. I'll go to create as usual, go to design view, add only the students table, and close. So I am going to add these tables, all of them, including the ID this time. Okay, to do that, to make sure you drop all this at once, I am going to double click on the name of my table, that is students table here. So when I double click on it, it will highlight all the fields in the table. And what I will do next is to click on one of them and hold my mouse down. I'm dragging it, I'm dragging my mouse until I get to the first field or first column, and then I will release my mouse button at this location. So it will copy all these fields and drop them for me in each column per data. So I have got all this information, but like we did before, I don't want this ID column to show on my results. So I want to check this and remove that check mark so that this is not going to show. So you see, if I leave all these ones on, all these ones are going to show on the table, but this is not going to appear. So that is what this show means. Now, under the query like we did before, sorry, the sort that we did before, I'm going to click on the last name and then select ascending order. And go to gender. This time I'm going to type female. Okay, I'll click on below, the arrow, the row below, and then it will put this writing into a quotation mark. You know what that means by now. So I have done that, and then I will now run the query. Okay, now we have the female. We have the female on our query. Now we can see that this is the queries that we have already created for the female. So I'm going to save this. I'll call this female query. I'll call this female query. Okay, so click on OK.